It's over. It's over. It's done. Call it.
The first bull run of 2022 is over.
The first, I wouldn't call it a bull. I'd call it something else. But
Oh yeah.
geez,
Well, the
Louise,
first Nifty bull run. We had a bit of a pop in Nifties.
We had a pop.
To the sweet spot of 3,000 to 3,500.
Hell yeah.
And yeah,
it's over.
That's probably over now.
Pack it up. We'll see you next year.
You know what's weird? It's so weird, this whole Ethereum and Bitcoin and Nifty price relationship. I just wish I could wrap my head around it, because like Ethereum is down, so it's super cheap, but then also Nifties are down.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense. Like my Bored Ape Kennel Club 2 days ago was, 7 ETH, and Ethereum was $3,500 a piece, but now Ethereum is worth way less. It's $2,500, but my Bored Ape Kennel Club is like 5 ETH.
Well, is that offers on yours or the floor? Like,
that's
because like
standing offers.
Yeah, you can't use the standing offers. Like, you have to use the floor prices, right? Like, so like the floor of the Bored Ape Kennel Club is like 5.8. So like
right.
it's
so
still
that's down though.
It's down what? Like
at least 2 ETH from its peak a few days ago.
No, I mean maybe, but the floor of Bored Ape Yacht Club is still 83.
I know, and that's weird too.
The mutants are still 16.
How come Kennel Club goes down, and then people are rotating into more secure or more stable?
Yeah, there's no guarantee. Like the Bored Ape Yacht Club has said, like the kennel, like our second tier. So it's like you can't, like, if you're hedging, like you're like, okay, like, but I mean it's still what, 6 ETH almost for a kennel dog. Like,
yeah,
it's almost imbalanced, right? Like, so when you think about like they say that, like, what is it, like it's like 4 mutants should equal an ape, 2 dogs should equal a mutant, or 3 dogs should equal a mutant. Like, there's like these rules.
That for the ape coin? Are those ape coin rules?
The alleged ape coin that's coming on the Super Bowl. I'm still right. I'm still right on the Super Bowl thing.
Okay. I saw Snoop trying to pitch himself as on some sort of...
Was he trying, or was it marketing?
Marketing like he's already been accepted?
No, marketing like he's not going to be, like, there's no board of the Bored Ape Yacht Club.
I know, that was the weird thing. It's like,
no, but it's like you come out and you say, like, hey, like, here's the thing, we need build up, right? You know what else happened today? Pepsi released a massive trailer for their lineup, and Mary J. Blige, Dr. Dre, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar. If Kendrick Lamar buys an 8 between now and the Super Bowl, like, it's just it's all these things, right? And so like the amount of money that's being thrown, even though we're down and it's sad, and I'm very sad. I'm incredibly sad. Like, from weddings crashers, like, don't jump. Like, I'm really sad that Azuki is like maintaining its floor at 4 ETH right now.
See, that's another example.
I was hoping that it would like plummet. And that's the other thing that's really interesting, like, for me, is like, sorry, we can go into this detail in a minute, but it's like I'm trying to find arbitrage opportunities and I can't find any.
Right.
Like, NFTs are breaking to the US dollar right now.
Okay.
More so, like, the Bored Ape Yacht Club is saying, like, okay, we've established ourselves that, like, we're gonna maintain this. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if ETH keeps going down, does Bored Ape Yacht Club go to 90, right? Because like, it's the value has broken. And is that good or bad? I don't know what that means. Like, everyone on Twitter says 1 ETH is 1 ETH, and that's great. But like, and this goes back to the volatility of the currencies, right? Like, and this is why until the US dollar suffers and interest rates rise, like, things ultimately, like, high value items are ultimately, they're going to be tied to the most valuable item at the time. So if ETH is more valuable than the dollar, Bored Ape Yacht Club will be tied to ETH, and then if that fails, it will default back to, as a high value item, it'll default back to the most stable at the moment item, is my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I could be wrong.
It's
I've
just
had a
such a
couple beers.
weird, it's like a weird triangle where the links are all supposed to be connected, but they're not because they can't. It's almost like an MC Escher drawing where the stairway somehow goes up, but then still goes down. That's how I kind of see this whole crypto nifty dollar relationship. Like it shouldn't be able, it's an optical illusion. It shouldn't be able to be all connected together, but somehow they are.
Are you saying crypto's fake?
I'm just saying it's the relationships between them are highly confusing and ununderstandable.
It's also a complex system, right?
Yes,
And
very
like,
complex.
like it's an irrational market right now where we have
Yeah.
massive inflation and like, I mean, we're just in a really interesting period. Like, which
Hmm.
you'd think like ETH would be like ripping.
For sure. It should be, especially with ETH 2.0 coming up, getting so close to that.
What is it? What 2027?
2027? No, that should be this year.
Yeah, they've said that every year.
I know. I think they'll get a lot of more pieces done this year, if not the whole thing done. I mean, the roadmap is long, but the major milestones are the merge to ETH 2.0 and then proof of stake. So
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know. Are you looking at anything to buy besides hope you don't catch a
Ethereum.
knife?
I'm looking at Ethereum for sure. No, let me see. What would I like to buy? Well, we talked about yesterday. I like M2 Serum. Another thing I like is I want to buy another Beeple, but um, right now, well, some of the Beeples see, but in dollar terms, some Beeples are relatively cheap. Like a bull run sold this week for about 54,000. Politics sold for about 140,000. I don't want either of those. I want a lesser Beeple. Um, those are kind of two of the more popular ones. But I just would like to have a second Beeple in my portfolio. But some of the Beeples were around 10 ETH for a little while in there when ETH was a little bit higher valued. I'm not sure where they've gone since ETH has really dropped a lot. In theory, they might be cheaper in dollar terms now, but if they're that's where this weird triangle thing comes in. I don't know. So I would like another Beeple. That's another thing I would like. I really like the um, Azukis, but it's just too much for me to get in without a really interesting roadmap.
Yeah, you're still, Mechaverse is doing an airdrop.
Oh, are they doing an airdrop? I thought are you talking about the drivers?
I think so. I don't.
Okay,
I'm not an owner, so I don't follow that
I
closely.
don't follow them either. That one's down. So that one is another stupid one where I was getting 1.2, 1.4 offers for mine back when crypto was, I mean, back when Nifties were popping.
24 hours ago.
Yeah, like a week ago, but now it's down to this morning 0.75 offers. So that's if you look at the dollar value change, I was getting like probably a $5,000 offer, and now I'm getting like a $1,500 offer. So
That's
it's just so
crazy.
confusing. I think it just shows that when people get scared, they're gonna put their money into stuff that's stable, perceives to be stable. Right now, there's a lot of fear in the market. The stock market's being all crazy. There's all this weird stuff going on internationally. There's the whole inflation thing and COVID. Everybody's doesn't know where to put their money, so they're going to put their money into safe things. And so that's why you have stuff like Bored Ape Yacht Club, where it seems to be bucking the trends.
I'm looking
So,
up like right now if into the ether drops below 20.
It
ETH?
was somebody got one for 9.5 ETH
How long
3 weeks
ago?
ago.
Really?
Yeah, but
That's
that was an
insane.
outlier. I don't know who paper handed that.
Jeez Louise. Someone, dude, 10 days ago, yeah, 13 ETH, 15 ETH, 18 hours ago.
Yeah,
I might put a global offer on like Into the Ether just to make John angry.
yeah. I think you can go way below that too.
Like 12 ETH for an Into the Ether.
Even less, maybe 11 or 10 or 11. And that's a weird thing too, because are you talking about on looks? Or are you going to do an ETH global offer?
Yeah, no, like on OpenSea. Yeah, like I would go and put a wrapped ETH offer on every
Oh, okay.
Into the Ether on OpenSea.
Yeah, I think potentially. I mean, one went for 9 point. Somebody paper handed one for under 10 about 3 weeks ago. I think with craziness going on, you could probably do a 10 ETH offer, and you might get 10 to 11, and maybe you'll get lucky. The thing about Beeples that's really interesting is everybody values them, but they're extremely illiquid. So partially
Yeah,
because they're so expensive and just because it's a small market, it's a very like exotic market. So it's not going to be even like even more volume stuff like pack or whatever is going to be just
let's not talk about Pack. I'm gonna get canceled if we talk about Pack.
I
I
brought
have
him up
nothing
because
to
I
say about Pack. I
I
love
knew
Pack
I knew he'd trigger you.
as an influencer, and Pack is a phenomenal artist. But I also just am a little bit frustrated with like a lot of the fact that um, if you're gonna do performance art, like if you introduce a gun in the first act, you have to use it in the third act, right? He's
Okay.
introduced a lot of guns, and like we're on like Act 8,
Yeah,
and it's like, okay, where's the switch? Where's the key? Like, okay,
yeah.
cool. Like you released Ash, now we're gonna do this.
Poets are
Part.
supposed to still have a twist too.
They
Oh, see
are.
you started this.
Yeah, I did, and I don't want to talk about it anymore because
I know,
like
I know.
I respect Pac as an artist, but I also just think that um, like you can't keep promising the like there's you just can't keep promising these future things. Like you have to deliver, and like if you think about it, since the cubes, it's been like a lot of a lot of volume, right? Like we're talking like 60,000 page, like there's just so much stuff, and it's just when you think about what that means, you have, and just like in music theory, right? Like if you're playing chords or you're playing tone, like music, like your ear is like searching for resolution, right? Like your chords have to consolidate. Like that's what makes music beautiful, and like all these theories, like the reconciliation has to happen. And so like we're introducing an idea, and before we reconcile that thought, we're introducing another, which you can do too, like simultaneous themes. But we're on like the fourth theme, and we've had zero reconciliation.
Hmm.
So I hope that there is like this massive like denouement or climax that happens, crescendo, whatever, that just like the sky is open and like everything happens. But like right now, ETH is down,
Yeah.
and so I'm a little less patient
Speaking
on.
of ETH being down, and to wrap up your pack story, you know what it reminds me of is that show Lost with the smoke monster. It's like they introduced all this really cool, interesting stuff early on, and then
I
they just
never
got.
watched Lost.
Oh, you never did? Okay. Well, somebody on the stream probably will get this, but to sum it up, they introduced a lot of cool sci-fi elements early on, and then the writers could never figure out a smart way to wrap it up. So they ended up wrapping it up in a very like dissatisfying way. And I think you run the risk of if you start a bunch of those interesting elements and not knowing where to go with them, you run a risk of never being able to satisfy your audience. And I think, yeah, he might be going down those roads. And another thing is like one problem that like Google had with developers and probably still has with developers is on certain projects they would give developers huge bonuses, like huge bonuses to work on those projects. And the bonuses were so large that it was enough to just retire on. So what ends up happening is you hire this developer, you give him this retirement level bonus, and the developer is going to work a little bit and then quit and just retire because they don't have any incentive to do the work anymore. And I think you run the risk when you're giving an individual so much money on all these projects. Like different people are going to have different drives to continue working when you've you basically have no reason to work. Like there's Tom Brady and then there's Andrew Luck. Like Tom Brady is not motivated by money, obviously. He wants to win. I'm going over the place with analogies here.
No,
He
you're
wants to
fine.
just win Super Bowls and become a legend. That's what motivates him. Andrew Luck just wanted to get that $100 million contract and then he retired. Like you never know if somebody is a Tom Brady or an Andrew Luck until they're done. And is Pack, which is Pack? Is he the Tom Brady of Nifties or is he the Andrew Luck? We don't know. And there's a big risk that he's just going to do an Andrew Luck and be like one day, hey, this is too much. I'm retiring.
Yeah,
That's one thing.
4 days after he made $100 million, he said that artists should be able to get 50% of the drop of the fees, right? So like that's a red flag.
Mhm.
And then it's also like haphazard, like no disrespect, but like merge, like cool, they're dots. I buy my kids Dippin' Dots all the time. Like
Okay, let's
I've
not
messed
hate
with
on him
like
too much.
no, I'm not. I'm just angry
I
because
know.
ETH is down, and
Yeah.
I titled this the NFT culture not so
Not so
happy
happy
hour.
hour. Okay, perfect. Good, good,
So
good.
I'm gonna air my grievances, and I hope everyone understands.
No, that's cool. I think that's one thing that going back to Beeple, that's one thing I like about Beeple is he got his payday back in March and then he did his obligatory, next Nifty Gateway drop.
Well,
And
Beeple's
for all
doing the
intents,
opposite. He's like, hey,
exactly.
my supply's too high. Like instead of saying like, let's create like Beepleverse,
Right.
he could have been like, what we're gonna do is we're gonna introduce Beepleverse.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all going to be these Kim Jong Un, Pikachu, like hybrids,
Yeah.
and you can like get these dystopian monsters, and
Right.
everyone would have been like, "Hell yeah, 10,000 Beeples!" But he's
Yep.
like, "No, like that's not my thing,"
Yeah. He
and he
just
went the opposite.
Yeah, he's been completely true to his initial mission, which is like trying to do this hybrid physical virtual thing, like with Human One. And in fact, he didn't do his winter drop, which I think is a really good sign for Beeple collectors long term, is that Beeple is going to do what Beeple wants to do, and Beeple clearly wants to continue making art, and but in his own terms. And I think that's the best kind of artist to get on board with is one where it's like he's going to stay true to himself and he's not going to start doing stuff to try to cash in. And so I think that's kind of that's why I still feel like maybe Beeple is a little bit, and it's going to sound crazy, but he's a little bit under pursued. Granted, he doesn't make his stuff accessible, which I guess is kind of a two-edged sword. It makes it hard for people to enter, but I think he's sticking true to his core style, and I think that's why he's really interesting to me.
Yeah, I mean, like, here's the thing. It's like, I want to add authenticity to like my list of core tenants, right?
Hmm.
Like, does it resonate? Does it tell a story? Would I own it at zero? Is it authentic? And do they have a following? Like authenticity matters. Like these dots. I'm gonna stop with the dots, but it's like you sit here and like the Board Ape Yacht Club, right, wrong, or indifferent for everyone who's trying to cancel and everything else. Like, and by the way, the primary artist of Board Ape Yacht Club is a female, and she's working on a new project. We'll be talking about that next week. But like authenticity, it's like cool. Like we don't need to like keep pushing the envelope. It's like when you watch these um, horror movies. It's like each Saw movie had like the first Saw movie was great because it was like underfunded, it was unique, and it did all these like cool things and it resonated. And so like what they had to do is like make Saw 2 like more extreme. Saw 3 had to be more extreme, more extreme, more extreme. It's like how extreme can you get with NFTs? Like
Mm-hmm.
they eventually like it's gonna break and we're gonna have to reset. So like I think we should take a step back and just say
Yeah.
like, hey, like let's cool off. ETH is down. I'm sad.
Look at just one more little angle here and more of a happy angle. One person I think who did a really good job with trying to weigh like, hey, I want to give something to my following without being too dilutive and without kind of being a cash grab. I thought the X copy thing was really well done with him doing that because that was only like 600 units, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
And I
think,
mean like
and they're all very clearly X copy. They're almost worth. Honestly, I would almost rather have a piece from that drop than my afterburn or even like Guzzler because it's
yeah, I mean,
clearly
because
X
it's a one
copy.
of one. It's
Yeah.
600 plus one of ones, and that's my
Hmm.
like tough thing. Like I've been since I paper handed my Azuki, I'm like,
Oh,
do what
don't sell.
my grifter?
Don't sell it.
I could sell it for 10 ETH.
Doesn't matter. Please don't sell that one.
Okay, well,
That one's
I'll
worth a lot.
I'll put it in the vault.
Okay.
But OpenSea needs to change and fix so that I can like look it up from X copy instead of async art. Like this is the
Oh, that's annoying.
yeah, that's the big flaw.
Yeah. It's a
But
legitimate
like
copy though.
here's the question that I have fundamentally is because like I hate Foundation because of this flaw. Um, is it that the contract is that way and we should judge inefficient like because super rare doesn't have that challenge like maker's place doesn't have that challenge, foundation does. So do we judge like the contract it was minted on, or do we demand that OpenSea and future platforms are conducive to the artists agnostic of the platform that they choose?
Hmm.
Because like for now, like right now, if I wanted like the perception I have is that if I want to look up X copy, I want a piece of X copy art. Never gonna find a grifter.
Yeah.
Never.
No.
Let's say I didn't know X copy did a drop on async. Never
Okay.
gonna
Yeah.
find it.
That's true.
So does that diminish the one of 600 that or one of 600 that I have? Because if I want an afterburn, I can type an X copy and an LFG.
I think going back to somebody else that we, as long as it's not so happy hour, like I think that's kind of a place where Rafik is in a little bit worse state. Like if you were like, hey, what's the entire body
Don't
of
you
Rafik
talk about
worth?
Rafik?
Hey, I'm a Rafik bag holder too, and I'm
I'm
waiting
not
for
a
my
bag holder.
physical.
I am a fan,
Okay, well,
and
I'm a
I
bag
love
holder.
him. And I have 3 pieces
Okay,
prints of Rafik coming in.
his
They're
stuff is
going to be
awesome.
going in my bedroom.
Okay, his stuff is awesome. But if you wanted to try it, if let's say you were a Rafik kind of, let's say you were new to the Rafik um, appreciation group, and you were like, hey, I want to get my first Rafik. How in the world would you know what all the different collections were or where to
Well,
go to buy one?
Rafik is also blockchain agnostic.
I know
Not
it's
only,
even worse.
not only is he a thing like, and I get like shout out to Rafik. You're the
Yeah,
goat.
the art
Um,
is awesome, and I think that's the only reason why I bring him up is because his art is really good, but he presents this conundrum because you're like, how much Rafik is actually out there? It would be hard just to do an audit to know how big the pool is if you're trying to find a piece you want.
you know what? Shout out to Slam Sunday.
Did you end
Like,
up getting a piece or?
yeah, I got a print.
Okay.
One was and I just bought the print, which is cool. Like Slime Sunday's doing it right. He's like, I'm still gonna do purely
Art
um,
art drops.
art. Like you can buy this signed poster. No, I'm not gonna make an NFT of it.
Oh, it's just purely a poster,
It's
old
purely
school.
a poster.
Okay,
But that's cool because my Takashi Murakami is it's a
yeah,
print. It's not a
nothing wrong with
poster.
real world art. I mean, I got my Beeple back there, my other Beeple,
When's
which
that
is a
Beeple
signed
gonna replace the old world Tommy
soon, well, soonish.
soonish? Hell yeah. What else? What? Since we're being negative, what else is bringing us down?
Let's see.
What are we
Man,
angry about? What are you in the comments? Got 30 people watching. If you're on Twitter, get on the YouTube. Tell us some crap you're angry about. Tell us what drops you hate. Let's go. Where's someone gets it?
I know I'm angry about where the heck has Rob been?
You know, we lost Rob.
we we lost him.
He went on a magical journey. He'll come back.
He showed up when he needed to show up, so that's good.
Rob's the goat.
He's probably struck down with affliction like we were the last couple days.
Affliction.
Oh man.
I wish I
Yeah.
knew anything about Solana. I keep saying in the Discord that I'm going to learn more about Solana.
Oh,
And
okay. I'll hate on Solana for a second.
no,
We can
don't.
talk about
Oh,
it.
I guess we're being haters today,
Yeah.
right?
So did you
Real
hear
quick, can
about
I be
this?
like 2 minutes,
Oh yeah, go ahead.
and then you can be negative on Solana. I just want to like show for like 2 seconds, and I might get like it might kick me out, and if it kicks me out, you can start pooping on Solana.
Okay.
Um, because I don't know if it's gonna work. Oh yeah, did it work? No, it's not working.
Were you
Well, you
trying
can't.
to
I was trying to show like the new Discord bots. So like we introduced, if you're a
Oh yeah.
NFT culture token holder, we're wallet peeping now all the top collectors.
Yes.
And you know, Art Chick, she just bought a crypto bat from Ozzy Osbourne for 1.6 ETH.
I saw a couple of you
Pranksy,
buy that. Pranksy bought one too, right?
yeah, Pranksy just bought another Clone X for 6.49 live. Zeneca, he's buying the hourglasses, and Shamdo is buying Metroverse. And if you're part of our private Discord, you get access to all this and more. You can check floor prices. Let's check the floor of what floor do you want to check, Mike?
Check the floor of Board 8 Kennel Club. Where's that at? Since we talked about it.
Well, that might not work because I have to type it in like the long way.
Oh geez, a long one. Can
Well,
you
I
do
have to
WoW?
type in the whole URL. What?
Can you
I'll
do
do the
World of
floor of Board Ape Yacht Club. It's 83.77.
Okay, nice.
The NFT Culture token,
Yeah, where's the token at?
the NFT
Hmm,
0.04.
okay,
Hell yeah.
that's good.
It's a good entry point to all
Yes.
these bots and wallet peeping and
Yeah.
private community. And if you're an artist, getting featured on the website. So, Mike, go on.
Okay. So Solana, and this is not strong hate. This is just a little bit of hate, but okay. So there's some kind of service on Solana called Civic, and they verify projects, right? So if you're going to do some project on Solana, then this service will be like, I don't know if it's specific to Solana that this service will do stuff on, but this particular drop was on Solana. So there was an ape clone that was going to drop on Solana, and they got this Civic company to verify them. So who knows what exactly that means? But Civic said, yeah, we verified all the people involved with the project. It's a completely legitimate project, totally safe to buy. And then the project rugged. They collected $1.3 million worth of Solana, which is like 9,000 Solana or something, and then they rugged. So it's like, oh man, it's just classic. Like, this is why like centralization can really bite you. Like, if you have some centralized service that's going to claim to be some authority, then and you're going to rely on that, then you're open yourself up to risk. And so they're like, well, we're going to try to pursue them with law enforcement. Well, it's like, okay, so um, you're going to rely on legacy law enforcement now to try to get these people's money back. Like, that's kind of goes against the whole like code is law philosophy of crypto in general. So I don't know. Solana's
Law
weird.
enforcement might know what Bitcoin is. They
Yeah,
might know. I was on this Solana network and it didn't
yeah.
work, and I need my money back.
It's a pretty weak response. Like I think if you're going to go out of your way and say that somebody's verified, then you should be able to have some sort of insurance policy in place. I don't know. Who knows? All I know is
They should
it's a
FDIC
bad look.
themselves, right?
Yeah.
Like if Solana is inherently centralized, they should be like, hey, if we verify something, we'll put up 250 grand to the
Hmm.
verification. So like at
Right.
least the
Like a
1.2
bond.
million will get a quarter of their money back, right?
Yeah. So really kind of egg on the face of that ecosystem, but you know, I guess they're I guess to their credit, they're trying to solve a problem, but it's one of those things of just because somebody says something doesn't mean it's true. And even like I the weird thing about it is like somebody says, "Hey, we verified the identities of these people," but does that mean people should be able to remain anonymous? And then if somebody ends up being like a scam, well, you should probably release all the information you had available. Like I didn't see
Like
them
Pac.
actually.
I'm
I'm not going
kidding.
to use that word with him. I think everybody, here's the thing about merge is like you knew exactly what you were getting. You were getting a dot and you were getting this weird gamification concept.
I thought I was getting a 3D dot.
Did you?
Like
I guess he.
I'm angry because like in my pursuit of Rafik Anadol, like I bought that book, Generative Design,
Mhm.
and then like I'm doing this and like very easily and like like I can create these three-dimensional things, and then like I literally got a dot, and it made me like incredibly angry.
Hey, but it was on chain. Does that
It's an
help at all?
on-chain dot that the contract didn't work.
Oh, I
Let's
know. And then the
let's
contract
forget for
broke.
a minute that the contract was broken, and it took 72 hours. And oh, by the way, like we still haven't closed the loop on our poets and our pages, and like we still we just closed our loop on carbon,
Hmm.
right, to offset some of our ash. Like I'm just tired and I'm
Carbon
grumpy.
is a mess too because on the one hand, I will say if Pack is going to do, you brought this up, so I'm going to talk about it. If Pack is going to do his own drops with Ash, I think that makes Ash worth more, honestly.
Well, I
Oh,
mean,
where?
here's the thing: like
Wait.
Sweatrocity, Sweatrocity, actually, if he's still watching, like he did a drop. He created these AI phoenixes, and he's partnered with Noe. Um, he's done all these things. He created a drop and dropped it on OpenSea, where you can only buy these phoenixes with Ash. Like, there's people that like want to embrace the ecosystem, and I feel like if he needs to do more, they need to do more with like Ash for it to be credible. It's like, hey,
Hmm.
if you really believe in Ash, why can't you only buy a merge with Ash? Right?
That's
Like
true. Yeah,
the
yeah,
biggest way to like fix it. And remember when Ash was released, it was like future drops of pack you're only going to be able to buy with Ash.
yeah.
And we're
He
still
did
buying them
say
with
that.
fiat. We're
I
like
know.
6 degrees away.
I know.
So like I'm frustrated.
But the
I'm
fine print
grumpy.
there is yes, some he just says future drops you're going to be able to buy with Ash, but then there'll be other future drops that you can buy without Ash. It's fine print, man.
Salty.
I know. No, it just is what it is. Somebody's asking about nifty photography. There is, well, Slime Sunday did his stuff, not even nifty, so I guess not.
I mean, I'm a huge fan of NFT photography. Most of the NFT photography that I collect, I can't pull up on stream.
That's true.
I think that I think that 2022 is going to be the year of NFT photography. I think that photography as a medium is one of the most important um, like outlets. I think that photography is an underappreciated aspect of art. I think
Hmm.
that especially now with like these, like we all think that like AI can make our camera look good. Like you can take a picture of the moon and like AI just puts the moon in front of the moon that you're taking a picture of, and then all of a sudden you have this awesome picture of the moon. But like to see like the art, the eloquence, like the in some cases like the the erotic, sensual, like or just even the brutal and sadness. I think that for me, like photography is one of the areas of art that I'm most passionate about. Partially because like I like taking pictures and I'm not that good at it. Like I think like if we drop some alpha and say this year we drop the curated NFT culture drop uh, where people can buy art, like I would love for one of our first artist drops on NFTCulture.com to be a photographer.
Yeah.
If that happens this year or next, who knows? But I love photography. I mean, what are your thoughts?
I think it's a little bit harder of a medium to break into the Nifty world because like art and metaverse, I think kind of go hand in hand because the metaverse is an imagination world. I mean, basically, it's a virtual world, which is a lot like imagination world. And so I think art being kind of closer to imagination fits that really well. Whereas photography is kind of like a representation of the real world. So it has that fundamental conflict with metaverse. And so therefore, it has kind of a little bit of a conflict with Nifties. That being said, I agree with you. Like, I think photography is certainly an art form and it's a science and it's a lot of other things. And so it's a creative, photographs are creative works, just like anything else in this space. And so they definitely have a home. I think photography, more than anything else, is kind of victimized by that legacy mindset that people have coming into the space. And it's almost like, hey, I have these photographs that I sold to a magazine. Now I'm going to just sell them as nifties. And there's not as much like, hey, I'm building nifties and I want to use my photographs as my medium.
Yeah.
So I think there still needs to be a little bit more of a mindset shift for it to take off. Um, but certainly, I think it's just as valid as most other stuff. So,
Well, I mean, I think like Tina Eisen and Noe
hmm.
like are great examples of like photographers that are able to transcend that, and that there's so many more.
Hmm.
But just because we interact with them the most, I think like they're great examples of photographers that do it incredibly well. Before we wrap, I think maybe we end with something positive.
Okay.
There's this guy who's been active in our Discord for a while, and he doesn't even own a token. I might have to just give him one of our NFT culture tokens. But he's an artist. His name's Pixelite. He's on Foundation as Pixelite Media Caesar Lazarus. And if I mispronounce it, I apologize. But today, he got his first bid for zero point 0.3 ETH, and I'm really excited for him just because he's been here for a while. He's stuck around. He posted this piece of art in September of last year, and he's getting his bid today and for point 0.3. And he stuck to his guns. He didn't lower his price. He wasn't just trying to make a sale. So, shout out to him. Super, super thankful that he's been in the community and very active in the community and starting to see success. And so, for any artists that are watching this, like, don't give up. Like, your time's going to come. But like and we threw it out into the general. Like I threw a link to our PDF to be a featured artist. Like we can't feature every artist, and we want to feature all artists. But like there are a lot of people that come into the space and pretend they're artists. Next copy says like decide you're an artist and you're an artist, but like you have to suffer through some sort of pain,
Yeah.
and through that pain, you get some sort of following. Through that pain, you've developed some sort of website, some sort of personal thing. Like if you have one piece on Foundation and you have no record of anything else you've ever done in your whole life, like, don't fill out the form. We're not going to feature you on the website. But if you join the Discord, you'll see it in the general chat. It's not in the private chat. We'd love to have, and we're going to be featuring more artists. And actually, just very briefly, and spoiler alert, I just spent an hour today with Maker's Place, and we're going to be featuring a lot more artists. And Maker's Place is going to be working with NFT Culture to find and promote more artists in the future, and primarily because of Christian. So shout out to No Creative Abode. Like, we've said it for a long time. We're going to be focusing more on art, and we're committed to it. So keep an eye out for that. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I would just, my one follow on to what you just shared with Caesar is like, that's one really cool thing about ETH dropping is it makes some pieces more affordable. And if your strategy is like, I want to do work so that I can earn ETH, so that I can hold ETH really long term, then you don't really care about what the ETH to dollar ratio is at the end of the day. But yeah, great win for him. So maybe he just needed ETH to pull back a little bit for somebody to be able to pull the trigger, and somebody pulled the trigger, and that's awesome. So yeah, congratulations on that. I think that's a really cool piece.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great, and hopefully we can highlight more and more artists. Well, we're a little bit negative if any of you are huge Pack fans. Like, I'm still a Pack fan. I'm
I'm a
just
pack bag
frustrated.
holder, so
I
I'm I'm hurting nobody more than myself if I talk smack. But yeah, it's he's always. I think that's part of his thing is he brings out emotion, both
Well,
good
and
and
you want to
bad.
force the conversation, right? And like,
Yeah.
that's the other thing. It's like, he's a big proponent of, like, he's more than the piece you buy. Like, and that's cool. Like, you're part of, if you want to be part of a community and something bigger, like, buying a pack piece is literally buying something bigger. And that is really cool. And so, even though I'm salty because what's ETH at right now? Oh my gosh, it's over. Well, we'll be back in 2023 with the next update, but it's been fun.
We'll be back before 2023. Jeez. Maybe
Well,
Rob won't be back. I don't know. I don't know where Rob's at. We'll try to get more people on so it's not just me and Malachi talking smack. Get some more.
yeah, if anyone wants to come on, any artists, anyone else, let us know. We'll bring you on. It's going to be fun. All right. I got to
Cool.
go get pizza.
Yep.
Take care,
See you
buddy.
guys.
I got to press some buttons.